Ellen Mattis, and I am the owner of Hello Social Co. And today, on behalf of the PA Wild Center, I'm interviewing Karl Fisher of Alabaster Coffee Roaster and Tea Company. And he's going to share a little bit how the organization is pivoting in what is really an uncharted time for small business owners. Hey, Karl, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, just to get us started, for those watching that aren't familiar with you, tell us, what is Alabaster Coffee?
Yeah, so Alabaster is it's a coffee bar and a coffee roastery. We're in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, right downtown, and we're coming up on our 10th anniversary. We'll be 10 here in August. And really, our the focus of our business has always been both coffee and community. We've always wanted to bring those two things together. So we have a retail coffee shop front that is coffee and drinks and merchandise and small food. We also have a full coffee roastery that is doing both retail and wholesale sales, and then some online work. We also do some consulting and training, business planning, things like that.
Great. And, there is a lot of different places that you could start your business. Why the Pennsylvania Wilds?
Yeah, so I was a kind of a transplant to Pennsylvania when I was a kid, and I love it here. I love living in Pennsylvania. I love our location to being in the outdoors. Um, I decided very shortly after school I wanted to go really, really far away, and then changed my mind and decided that Williamsport specifically is really where I wanted to be, where my wife wanted to be as well. And we came back, moved back to Williamsport just about 13 years ago, very much with the intention of this was an area that we loved and we wanted to put down roots in and invest in, and whatever we were doing, trying to make the area just a better place, and a place that we were excited to live in.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that makes a lot of sense. So obviously, as business owners, we've all had to really kind of change our business models and shift the way that we're doing business as a result of COVID-19. So, what are some of the things that Alabaster has done amid the crisis?
Yeah, and so our change and our pivot happened very, I mean, almost immediately. Was our change. In general, about 65 to 70% of our gross revenue is through our retail front, and the other main section is through wholesale. Well, in about a week, it was decided that we needed to close our retail front to customers, so that happened really quickly. And because our wholesale customers are largely either larger institutions, so colleges, or other shops like us and restaurants. We also actually have a lot of churches that we roast for. Like I said, in a very small period of time, we all closed. So that came to a pretty stark halt. Um, the biggest change that we made immediately was shifting to online sales, which I know a lot of folks have been doing. Um, uh, but it was a big change for us. We'd always had a website, but did very little business through it. So I'm really grateful that we had the kind of the bones, of the structure to do that. But that was a major pivot, and it was really, really great for us. And I think the thing that kept us kind of afloat, especially through those first handful of weeks. Um, Now, kind of beyond just our online sales, and as the state is looking to, what does it mean to reopen? What does it mean to find kind of a new normal? We're asking lots of questions about how does that impact what our front retail business is. So just for the last couple of weeks, we decided to do kind of a soft start, and I've been doing curbside pickup and local delivery through something we've called Alabaster Local Market. And we started largely to try to reach our immediate community with the kind of more non-perishables that we had. And still getting beans out, getting chocolate, brewing equipment. And then just last week, we started moving toward actually bulk drinks. So we're now, in addition to canning, we've always canned our cold brew coffee. We're now doing like quart and half-gallon jugs of iced drinks. And we're making those available. Right now we're open limited hours, like 2 days a week. And that's kind of our start back in to get some business going, to start bringing some of our staff back in a way that we're confident that we can have a good financial support for the long term.
Sure. Yeah, and you mentioned your staff. So I guess my first question is, how big is your staff? How many people are we talking about? And what are some of the other ways that you've kind of supported them through this?
Yeah, so we have 13 people on staff besides myself, and that was like I say, a big shift. When we pretty much had to cease all of our retail operations, we did not have, business for our barista staff. And so one of the things that we wanted to do, this was early March. One of the things that we did for our staff, probably one of the hardest things I've ever done as a as a leader or as an employer, we took our last staff meeting and we walked through with our whole staff how to apply for unemployment. We wanted to make sure that this was something that we could try to be taking the best care of them that we could, and utilizing the tools and the resources that we have. And frankly, unemployment compensation it's a tool and a resource that's available to us. So we wanted to make sure that we helped them get connected there. We've also we've looked at some different merchandise things that we've done. So we've had some different mugs, for instance, that we've put up for sale, and that we've had all of the proceeds for those go to our staff. Taking care of our staff with coffee, certainly as that's been going on. The other through our website, we put together a virtual tip jar, which I'd seen some other shops like us around the country start to do. So we put that up. I had no idea how that was going to fly. And we saw such a huge outpouring of support from folks, giving to that virtual tip jar that we could then disperse to our staff. It was amazing, and it wasn't even, our hyper local customers. We've been seeing that come in from all around the country.
Yeah, I think that virtual tip jar program is a great thing that has come out of this nationwide. And for those PA Wilds businesses that maybe haven't thought about something like that so far, it's certainly something to consider.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned that one of the things that you did was you sat down and you talked with your staff about what was going on and how to apply for unemployment. But the amount of information that was coming from different resources was astronomical.
Mhm.
We had to parse through tons of information as this first started. So what were some of the programs or resources or maybe even organizations that you found helpful, that you'd encourage others to check out?
Yeah, and as you said, like, I mean, honestly, it was mind numbing. Those first few weeks, everyone had opinions and everyone had some information, and to know how to sort through all of that was so difficult. We leaned very much, honestly, into PA Wilds. Was super helpful as a resource. I also highlight here locally in Williamsport and through the region, the Covation Center has been a great help. Full disclosure, I'm on their board, but I will say the Covation Center did a great job and answering lots of questions for businesses of how to apply for things, loans, grants, what's true, what's not true. They were great. Our local chamber of commerce has done a really good job of sending out very periodic emails about resources, lots of government links, and seminars and webinars that can be tuned into. And honestly, otherwise, as a resource, one of the things that I'm learning through our business is that anything that we're spending, and I think this is regardless of whether you have received any sort of loan or grant or not, um, track everything and step up your game to protect yourself. And in doing that, I'd say if you have an accountant that you work with, like run everything by them. Make sure that you're on the same page and that you are friends with them. Um, because they will be the ones to really help get you clear information. And if there are questions, they're going to be one of the easiest resources to ask questions to and get a clear answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that as a result of this, there's been any silver linings for you personally, or anything that you're going to carry through as a business owner in the future?
Yeah, a lot of the things that we needed to do, I think to just survive those first few weeks. So honestly, even like curbside pickup and ordering ahead, they were things that honestly I never really wanted to do before. I was uninterested, and I felt like it took away from the style of business that we were trying to have. But that all had to change. And so if nothing else, one, going through these last few weeks has forced us to just try new things and be willing to do that. Anytime that we try something new, it's disruptive, right? It causes a disruption, and I think that's can oftentimes be a piece of fear that keeps us from trying new things. Um, but one of the great things about this time is that everything has already been disrupted, So, that would almost be my encouragement that, um, this is a great time to just try something new because the disruption is already there. So feel the freedom, to explore and try something.
Yeah, it's absolutely a great time to just see what sticks. So, as far as what's kept you going during this time, what would you say is maybe some of your inspiration, or what's kept you going during a very stressful time?
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten so many just notes and emails, from folks reaching out to us, just checking in with us. Has been great. Um, uh, I know personally I can downplay that a lot. I feel like I don't need input from other people, but this has been a good reminder, especially as we're just not seeing the community that we're used to. We exist very much here to benefit our community, and it hurts when you're not around people that you care about and people that you love. So to hear that is really great. Um, One of the things that's helped me, so 10 years ago, before doing this, I was a pastor before having Alabaster. And if anything, through kind of my faith and worldview, I think back to just the Lord's Prayer of give us today our daily bread, give us the things that we need for today. I'm very much a person who likes to plan, and I want to plan out everything. I want to plan for a plan for a plan. Um, and there were many days at the beginning of this where I just didn't know what to do, because everything changed daily and I couldn't plan, and it drove me crazy. Um, so just kind of remembering, like, take it a day at a time. One day I can only do what I can do for today. Um, I have a little enamelware sign at home that's just says, what good shall I do this day? And I have it right by my front door where I hang all my hats. And so I see it every day when I leave, just what good shall I do this day? And that's just been a really good reminder of, even though it can feel, maybe it feels hopeless, it certainly feels hard. We don't know what's coming next. But, personally, I can choose to do something good today.
Yeah, I think that's super inspiring, and it's great to hear you say that that's how you're keeping going these days.
That's right.
Well, Karl, thank you so much for coming on today. For those of you that are watching, just a reminder that you can learn everything you need to know about this series on wildscopa.org. And if you'd like to share your own story about how you've pivoted your business model as a result of COVID-19, feel free to log on to that website and apply. We really want to see other small businesses participating in this. So, Karl, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, goodbye.
See ya.